All right, here we are in video 2 of lesson 8, module 6, grade 5, and I think the dogs calmed down. That's got to be one of the funniest videos with the dogs jumping all around. They seem to all be sleeping right now. So let's look at number 1 in your magnifying glass page. We are going to do number 1 and number 2 together, and then we're going to talk about them a little bit. So turn to number 1 in your magnifying glass page. It's going to look roughly like this. And the rule for the x-coordinate is to add 1 5/10, right? That's what the directions say right there. The rule for the y-coordinate is to add 1 5/10. So we're going to be adding 1 5/10 to each one this way, right? Adding 1 5/10 to the x and adding 1 5/10 to the y, right? Not the difference between them, but the rule for the pattern in the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. Okay, hopefully you understand that. So if x is 1, then x is going to be 2 5/10. That would be the next one, right? Okay, and then we're going to add another 1 5/10. Okay, 5/10 and 5/10, that's 1, so that's going to be 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. All right, and then we're going to add one more, 1 5/10, so that would be 5 5/10. And then we're going to do the same thing to the y-axis. Make sure you're following along and getting this written down in your book in the magnifying glass page. Starting with 5 plus 1 5/10 is going to be 6 5/10. Plus 1 5/10. 5/10 and 5/10 is 1, plus 6 is 7, plus 1 more is 8. And then one more 1 5/10 added would be 9 5/10. Okay, and then we just need to write our ordered pairs, and that shouldn't be too hard because we're just copying our x's and our y's, right? X 2 5/10, y 6 5/10, x 4, y 8, x 5 5/10, y 9 5/10. Got it? Okay, very good. Now we are going to plot those ordered pairs on our coordinate grid. All right, and I don't think I can quite get it all on there, but you already wrote it down in your magnifying glass book, so you have it as well, right? Sorry, magnifying glass page in your Learn book. There we go. All right, so we're going to plot these points. We have our ordered pairs right here, 1, 5. Are you plotting it? Are you plotting it correctly? 1 across, 5 up, right? Always to the right, and then up, to the right, and up, to the right, and up. Yep, you got it? Okay, 2 1/2, 6 1/2, 2 1/2, 6 1/2, and we have our line in between each number, so we know that these are actual placements. They're not approximate or estimates, right? Because we can know exactly where 6 1/2 is. And then 4 8, 4 8, kind of double checking, make sure. 4 8. I'm going to double check my 2 1/2. Oh, 2 1/2, 6 1/2 was off. There we go. Just put an X in that one. I noticed because my line wasn't lining up, right? And they seem to be making lines because we have this pattern, right? Okay. 5 1/2, 9 1/2, 5 1/2. Careful, careful, careful. 9 1/2. There we go. Okay, did you get yours all plotted? Awesome. Then let's do number 2 together. Go ahead and look at number 2 in your Learn book in your magnifying glass page. And it's going to look roughly like this. And you have your calculation here. And this is the calculation between the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate, right? So this chart is a little bit different. This is not thinking about the difference between one x to the next x, although we could look at that. But this is the difference between the x and the y. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? And they're always going to be 1.5. So this one, x is 3 plus 1.5 is 4.5. So our y is 4.5. Should we go ahead and write the ordered pair while we're at it? That would be 3, 4.5, 4 5/10, right? Okay, because a half is the same as 5/10. There we have 6 plus 1 5/10 is 7 5/10. 7 5/10, so we have 6 and 7 5/10. Notice I say and for the comma. That is proper reading of an ordered pair, in case you didn't know. 9 plus 1 5/10 is 10 5/10. 10 5/10. 9 and 10 5/10. Okay, very good. Guess what we're going to do next? You can see the coordinate grid there ready to go, right? We're going to plot our 4 ordered pairs. So starting with 0, 1.5. 0, 1.5. 0. And then up 1.5. So it's going to be on the y-axis. Hopefully you're going faster than me. That's the idea. 3, 4 5/10. 3, 4 5/10, or 4.5. 6, 7 5/10. 6, 7 5/10. And 9, 10 5/10. 9, 10 5/10. I don't have that on my grid. Just gonna have to put it way up there. All right. You got yours? Are they in a line? Did you double check them? Okay. What if I had 31 as my x? What would my y be? That question is actually going with number 1. So let's go back to number 1 and look at that one. Sorry about that. There we go. We can just line it up. If my x was 31, what would my y be? Now we just looked at our pattern this way, right? But if I want a fast way without having to count all the way up, 9.5 plus 1.5, right? Keep going up, keep going up. Can I think about the relationship between my x and my y here? What is the relationship between my x and my y? To go from 5.5 to 9.5, to go from 4 to 8, to go from 2.5 to 6.5, to go from 1 to 5. Is it the same thing every time? Yes, it is. I'm adding 4. Do you see that? So if my x is 31, my y is going to be 35. Yes? Okay. Now, what about if my y is 20? What is my x going to be? If I'm adding to go this way, I can subtract to go that way, right? 20 minus 4 is 16. Why are the y-coordinates 4 more than the x-coordinates? Let's look at our grid. The starting number in our pattern is 1x, but 5y. You can look at it here too, 1x, 5y, right? So our starting number is 4 more. Okay? All right, we're going to go to our next video to talk about question 2 and do a little bit more work on these kind of patterns. Hopefully you're understanding it. Thank you for your great focus. I appreciate you. Aloha.